All right, good afternoon. Today we are here, I'm Megan Olson, and I'm here with two adults who are going to be my kindergarten students. And we are working on our book box strategy, Tompkins number 5. So, class, remember last week we talked about what it would be like to live in Antarctica or to visit Antarctica. So I'd like for you to watch this short little video and see if you can remember some of the things we talked about.
It seems bleak with its endless cold and its flightless, awkward birds. But that's only on the surface. Nora, Christian, and Dale are going to the ice to get under it.
Who remembers what those animals are? Penguins. And they were sliding in on, what were they sliding in on? Ice. The ice. We talked about icebergs. Notice how they use their flippers to get through the water and to swim.
Norm's team is flying as far south as you can go and still find ocean. This is less than 900 miles.
We're going to stop it there. And we're going to talk about our book and review a little bit about what we learned in our book. Remember, this was if we could go to Antarctica. And on some of the things that we talked about the type of weather that you might find in Antarctica. And if you look here on this page, let's get to this page, some of the weather. What do you think the weather was like? Remind me what the weather was like in Antarctica.
Cold.
Cold. What else could you say?
Snowy.
Snowy.
Windy.
Windy. Very windy. What about the ice? You know anything about the ice? Remember what the book told us about the ice? The ice very rarely does it ever melt. Hardly ever does the ice in Antarctica melt. Very good. That's one of the things we talked about. Now, let's look at this page. This one refers to some of those animals, and we saw this one on our video. What were these again? Penguins. Very good. There was another animal we talked about when we read this story, and it was a seal. How do you think you can tell me that seals and penguins are alike? What do they have in common that makes them alike?
They both swim in the water.
They both swim in the water. What else could you say? What about their body types? Do they have fur?
No, their skin is very smooth.
They both have very smooth skin. Very good. Awesome. Now, what makes them a little bit different from each other? What's the contrast of them? How would they contrast each other?
Penguins stand up and seals lay on their belly.
Perfect. Penguins stand up. Seals lay on their belly. Also, remember that the seal has, or the penguins have a flipper to get through the water. They flip around quickly. Now, both of them, it helps them to swim very fast in the water. Okay? Very good. So, who remembers what Antarctica is? We talked about it. There's 7 of these. What is Antarctica?
Continent.
A continent. Remember, a continent is a piece of land that sticks above sea level. Okay? And there's 7 continents. So, continent is the word we're looking for today. Also, we talked about the icebergs. Icebergs, remember, are pieces of ice that have broke off. We have our penguins and our seals. Okay, so we're going to do a quick little review. I'm going to see how much you remember from those key words that we learned. And I'm going to pass out a paper for you to answer very quickly. Now, on this, it's very simple. I'm going to read you the choices, and there are some pictures there. All you have to do is write the number that goes in the blank. Okay. So the first one says, this is the southernmost continent that is surrounded by ice. Which one of those pictures you think describes that definition? Write that number in there. Very good. The second one says, a huge piece of ice that is found floating in the ocean. What would that one be? Perfect. The third one is large masses of land on Earth that stand above the sea level. You guys are remembering a lot. And the next one, black and white birds that can swim but cannot fly. Okay, and the last one are mammals with flippers that help them to become fast swimmers. Excellent. Okay, it looks like you have done very well in that. Do you feel like you remembered a lot of those words? Very good. Okay, so I'm going to take these, and then what I'm going to have you do is we're going to try another project today, and this one's going to be very fun. We're going to talk about a book box and how to make a book box. And a book box is something that you can build and be very creative with about the story that we read. So we're going to use our story, If You Could Go to Antarctica, and you're going with a partner to make a book box. And inside of your book box, you're going to put all kinds of things that represent items or things that we talked about in our story. So what are some ideas that you might have? What are some things you could put in there?
A penguin.
A penguin, okay, because we talked about penguins, good. What else could we maybe put? Ice, that would be awesome. Ice, because we talked about those icebergs. Okay, Mrs. Olson has made one, and inside of my book box I have pictures of an iceberg, penguins, a seal. Also, way down in here, I have a compass, because with our story we talked about north, south, east, and west. And so I have included a compass in our book box that talks about north, south, east, and west. So that would be another idea that you could use. So with your partner, what I'm looking for you to do is, I'm looking for you to create your own book box about this story. And I've supplied you with a box, and I've given you some markers and some scissors and some crayons and some animals and some pictures, because you can include pictures, you could draw pictures, you could glue pictures, but you could also include things like the stuffed animals or the compass. Okay? So I'm going to have you start working with your partner for a few minutes on how you could create your very own book box over this story. There might be some suggestions for you. And I will loan my things out as well if you would like to include those into your book box.
Some ice cubes.
Ice cubes?
Ice cubes.
Ice cubes. You might want to write ice cubes and draw a picture of ice cubes. That's a great idea.
And the glitter.
You need glitter. Oh, that might be a project for next time. I think that's a great idea, though.
Like
You're being very
the
creative.
iceberg, kind of shiny.
Shiny and shimmery, right?
I'm
Perfect.
gonna try to draw a penguin.
Oh, a penguin. And I would love to see if you would put the title of your book on here. Right on the top. And here's that title if you need to see how
I
it's
need to
spelled.
know how to spell that.
There you go. Let me get this a little bit closer for you.
Blue letters.
So remember, I'm looking for you to be able to work with your partner, because that's important when we work on partners, that we're working together.
You think I can do blue letters like this? Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that looks really cool.
I love the way you're
I
doing
like your
that.
penguin.
Thanks, I've never drawn a penguin before, I don't know.
It's a very good penguin.
We'll have to see.
Think about those words that we talked about, some of those key words like the continent and the iceberg, the penguin and the seal.
Should I draw the penguin standing or in the water?
Ooh, one standing, one swimming.
Great idea.
And then the sea lion eating a penguin.
The sea lion eating the penguin.
Because they do.
They do, you're right.
They chase them.
Absolutely. I'm
'Cause
glad the book
I know
didn't show
that.
us that part.
I know.
But I'm glad that you know that.
But my
That's
dad
great.
has told me that.
Your dad told you that? Perfect.
I've seen video of that, it's not very,
No, it's kind of gross.
it is, it's kind of sad.
It's sad.
It
I
is.
know. It would be sad.
Has anyone ever seen a sea lion
At the zoo.
at the zoo?
Barking
And the penguins?
in San Diego.
San Diego. Awesome.
That's not Antarctica, is it?
That is not Antarctica.
Okay.
You're right. Penguins are in other places like the zoo. Was it at the zoo?
No, the sea lion was just out.
He was just out?
Mhm.
Okay. When I went to Oregon this summer, I saw a bunch of sea lions out along the
Did
water.
they bark?
They were barking.
Were they brown or were they black?
The ones ones I saw were black. Perfect. I love the way you're being so creative. It's a really nice job. I'm gonna give you some time to go ahead and finish working on this, and remember, I'm gonna be checking to see how well you're working with your partner, to see if you're being creative and making that book box. I would love to see at least 3 things inside of that book box, okay? Nice on your penguin.
Thank you. I made a little speech bubble that said I'm a penguin.
Oh, I like it.
Good.
Nice job with the title.
Class, while you're finishing up there, I just want to kind of go over really quick what we talked about today. We reviewed those key words, those key vocabulary words, like our continent, Antarctica, iceberg, penguin, and seal. We reviewed those, and we made, what was this?
A book
A
box.
book box. And inside of our book box, we included everything about our story. And you guys are doing a fantastic job. So thank you today for working so very hard on your lesson.